Hey, it's Beth. Welcome back to Chill English Dose, a space where we learn English naturally through reflections, stories, and real-life words. Today, I want to talk about something we often forget, the quiet space between all the noise. Not silence, not emptiness, but that small, calm moment where your mind finally stops running and ideas begin to find their shape. I noticed this a few days ago when I left a very busy cafe. It was full of people talking, chairs moving, music playing, nothing crazy, just normal noise. I was trying to write something, but my thoughts kept jumping from one thing to another. I felt like my brain was full, but not in a good way. Full like a crowded room, not full like inspiration. When I stepped outside, the air was cooler. The street was still busy, but the noise wasn't as sharp. I kept walking, and slowly everything felt softer. The cars were distant, the city felt far away. It wasn't silent, but it was quiet enough. And in that shift, something interesting happened. For the first time that day, I could hear my own thoughts again. It made me realize how much noise we live in every day. Notifications, people, videos, background music, thoughts we didn't even choose. And because of that, it becomes harder to hear the small ideas, the gentle ones, the ones that need space. Some ideas don't shout. Some ideas whisper, and whispers only show up in quiet places. As I walked, I remembered something a teacher once told me. Creativity doesn't grow in loud soil. At that time, I didn't understand what she meant, but now I think I do. Our minds need a little space to breathe before they can create anything meaningful. And that space is rarely found in noise, it's found in pauses. When I finally reached a quieter street, it felt like my mind opened a small door. I wasn't trying to think, but ideas started forming on their own. Not big ideas, just small thoughts, gentle questions, simple connections. And it felt peaceful, like my brain was stretching after being curled up too tightly all day. It made me think about how often we chase inspiration in the wrong places. We think we need more information, more content, more stimulation. But many times, we actually need less. Not more noise, but more space. Space to notice how we feel. Space to understand what we want. Space to let thoughts breathe before turning into something. And the funny thing is, once the noise fades, even a little, ideas start acting differently. They stop running away. They start walking toward you. On that quiet walk, a few vocabulary words came to mind. Simple ones, but important ones for tonight. The first word is noise. The basic meaning is loud or unwanted sound. But noise can also mean mental noise. Too many thoughts, too many things happening at once. The second word is silence. It means no sound. But the silence we're talking about here isn't complete silence. It's emotional silence, the quiet you feel inside. Another word is space. It means an empty or open area. But mentally, space is the room you give your thoughts to grow. And one more, clarity. It means the state of being clear. Clarity often appears not when you think harder, but when you stop thinking for a moment and let your mind settle. During that walk, I realized something simple. Noise doesn't always stop you from thinking, but it stops you from hearing the right thoughts. And sometimes you need to step outside the noise, even for just a minute, to remember what your own voice sounds like. Ideas need air. Ideas need space. Ideas need a moment of quiet to land. As I kept walking, the world around me felt a little wider. Not because the street changed, but because I did. When the noise softened, my mind wasn't fighting for space anymore. It could finally stretch out, like someone opening a window after a long day in a crowded room. And that's when a simple thought came to me, a thought I didn't expect. Maybe quiet isn't empty. Maybe quiet is where ideas rest before they speak. We usually think creativity comes from excitement, movement, activity, and sometimes it does, but often the most meaningful ideas come from slow moments. Moments when you're washing dishes, or waiting for water to boil, or sitting in traffic without music. Moments when life stops asking for your attention and you finally have space to listen. I think many of us are afraid of quiet because it feels unfamiliar. Noise is easy. Noise distracts us. Noise fills the room. But quiet? Quiet shows us what we've been carrying inside. And sometimes what we're carrying needs our attention. Not in a dramatic way, just in a gentle, hey, remember me kind of way. Quiet doesn't demand anything. It simply invites you. And when you accept that invitation, you begin to hear the softer things, the ideas that were too shy to speak in the middle of the noise. There's a line I once read: "Silence is not the absence of sound. Silence is the presence of yourself. And the older I get, the more true it feels." When I reached a bench near the end of the street, I sat for a minute. I didn't think about work. I didn't scroll my phone. I didn't try to make something useful out of the moment. I just let my mind cool down, like a warm cup of tea that needs time before it's ready. And in that cooling space, something else happened. My thoughts became kinder. My ideas became clearer. My breathing became deeper. Not because I did anything special, but because I stopped doing too much. We often think clarity comes from effort, thinking harder, trying more, searching faster. But clarity is more like a lake. When you shake the water, everything gets blurry. But when you let the water settle, you can see everything clearly. Our minds are the same. Noise shakes the water. Quiet lets it settle. And maybe that's why creativity feels peaceful when it finally comes. Not loud, not dramatic, just a gentle understanding, arriving slowly, like the way evening light slides into a room. On my walk home that night, I realized something important. You don't need full silence to think clearly. You just need a little space, a moment between sounds, a pause between tasks, a breath between thoughts. That space, that tiny, almost invisible moment, is where your best ideas live. So here's the truth. Noise is not the enemy. Life will always have noise. People talking, phones buzzing, things happening. You can't control all of that, and you don't need perfect silence to be creative or thoughtful. What you do need is the ability to notice the space between noises, the small breaks, the soft pauses, the tiny pockets of calm that appear when you stop rushing. That's where your strongest ideas come from. That's where clarity starts. That's where your mind breathes. You don't have to escape the world, you just have to step back from it for a moment. Sometimes that moment is only 30 seconds long, but even 30 seconds can give your mind enough space to reconnect with itself. Remember this: quiet doesn't take time. Quiet takes awareness, and once you notice the quiet inside you, you begin to think more clearly. Not louder, but deeper. So tonight, let me ask you, Where in your day do you find a small space, even a few seconds, where the noise fades and your mind can breathe? It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be yours. The world will always be loud, but you don't have to be loud with it. You can pause, you can step back, you can let the noise pass and meet your ideas in the quiet space it leaves behind. If tonight's story helped you slow down or hear your thoughts a little more softly, subscribe to Chill English Dose for more calm reflections, gentle stories, and real-life English you can grow with, naturally and at your own pace.